Thanks for tuning in to the OFN meeting room on the Our Football Radio Network. Before we talk Green Bay Packers football, don't forget to order America's #1 draft guide for 39 years. You can see it right here on the screen. It's the Our Lads draft guide. Just log on to ourlads.com. All right. Now, let's find out how the Green Bay Packers have been doing this offseason with Packer Report publisher Bill Huber. Bill, how's it going?
I'm good. How about you?
It's actually, I'm feeling pretty good because I know there are a lot of people out there, a lot of sports fans that are just dying. And trust me, I'm dying too. Every morning I get up and I'm one of those guys that will DVR the hell out of sports. And then I get up in the morning and I watch for about an hour and a half, all the stuff that I didn't want to stay up and miss sleep for. So that's the one part that hurts my regular schedule is when I get up. I don't have anything to get up and watch. I got to put on regular news like everybody else. But other than that, I love the fact that we get to talk about the NFL draft at this point in time, and we can dive into that. And there's a lot of other people that cover sports that don't have that luxury.
Absolutely. It's been, everyone is kind of hurting for news. I'm thinking, gosh, I wish I had another week for the draft. I got so much stuff I want to get done here. So
yeah.
It's been good, other than homeschooling kids and trying to wrestle with number lines and stuff in math and edge rushers all at the same time.
All right. Well, let's talk about this team that made it back to the playoffs. And yeah, Aaron Rodgers is getting up there in age, but he found a new young head coach that he seems to get along with. Tell me, how did that relationship go, and how much of a difference was it from the old regime?
Well, the relationship went really well. I think this kind of started. There was a game mid-season in 2018 where the offense was kind of okay, but sputtered a bit, and then in prime time, a few nights later, the Rams just destroyed the Vikings defense. Obviously, the Vikings defense had caused a lot of angst on Green Bay and Rodgers over the years, and I think that really opened Rodgers' eyes to what this scheme can do. So with LaFleur's ties to that scheme, Rodgers really embraced the whole thing. I don't think there's anything that can't be fixed offensively without a couple players on offense. So I think the relationship was really good. Rodgers bought in from the get-go, and for all the stupid national people who thought there was going to be all this friction and stuff, there was none of that.
Yeah, those national people, they don't always know what they're talking about, right?
Well, I mean, there's a specific national guy who likes the Vikings, and he was the ringleader of that kind of stuff.
There you
go. But yeah, anybody who knew Rodgers knew he was going to buy into this. Look, the guy wants to win football games.
Yeah.
No matter who his coach is, if he thinks the coach can help him win football games, he's going to buy in.
Absolutely, and like you said, the defense really. Tom Brady wouldn't have had anywhere near the success if he didn't have the help on the defensive side of the ball, and of course the genius, but still the defense always, and just past Super Bowl that he won. I mean, come on, it had nothing to do with Tom Brady and the offense. It was all defense. So he's won probably half his Super Bowls thanks to the defensive side of the ball, which Aaron Rodgers just hasn't had anywhere near that same kind of help. And so, like you said, I'm assuming that has really lit a fire under Aaron. But now he also, as you said, he needs to maybe get some help on his side of the ball. They've swung and missed at a lot of these mid-round receivers over the last few years. Not all have missed. Some have done okay. But this is such a deep receiver class that I got to believe that wide receiver, I mean, the 30th pick of the draft, that could be a wide receiver, and that very well might likely be a receiver, right?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go so far as saying likely. I mean, it certainly could be. Look, for all the draft picks on defense, they still don't have a linebacker.
That's right.
Who's worth of salt. And their D line was run roughshod by the 49ers. So I could see them going one of those two directions in the first round. But over the years, and of course, past drafts mean nothing. But you look at what Ted Thompson did with Greg Jennings, a second-round pick, Jordy Nelson, second-round pick. Devontae Adams, second-round pick. James Jones, third-round pick. I mean, they've really hit their sweet spot in those day two picks, and you know this as well as anybody. You look at this year's draft; the depth is so overwhelming. I just kind of think, unless maybe Justin Jefferson falls at 30, but otherwise, it's fill another need in that first round, and then you're going to get swamped with all these tremendous receivers in day two. Go get your guy then. So I wouldn't say it's likely they go first round. It certainly is possible, but I wouldn't go as far as say likely.
And if they do go with defense, and you were talking about linebacker, do they really need like an impact middle linebacker, like an
Right.
inside guy? That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. Those guys tend to go fast, and Kenneth Murray and Patrick Queen are kind of the guys. I mean, other than Simmons, obviously, but who might get to 30. I don't think they will, but I mean, there's so many good guys in this draft. Maybe they'll get there. I mean, those are the two guys who really make a difference because they are 3-down players. They run like the wind. Blake Martinez was a good player, but he had his faults, and one of those faults was he just didn't have the speed to get to the corner. I think Murray and Queen really would help that.
As far as the outside guys, especially, you bring in Darius Smith from Baltimore, who really it looked like he had a breakout season his last season in Baltimore, so they couldn't afford him. And you still had to wonder with some guys that have a breakout season before they get the big bucks. But boy, he was dialed in for a second straight season, and he looks like he's going to be a big time fixture for that team.
Yeah, and it's not just the sacks. I mean, the production is fantastic. You could have made an easy argument for him to be, one of 3 or 4 guys in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He was not, for reasons I don't quite understand. But moreover, I mean, he took a major leadership role. I mean, guys just gravitate to him. His personality is so big, and Rodgers pointed it out any number of times that Darius Smith's presence in the locker room was as big as anything. And goodness knows his on the field presence was really beyond what anybody could have expected. But he was fantastic as a player and as a leader.
Talk to me about Michonne Gary, because I'm a Michigan fan, so I kind of understood what I mean. Once Gary became a Wolverine, and the publicity about the talent, and it never really materialized as much production-wise, stats-wise, I should say.
Right.
And so as a fan, you kind of thought, well, you wondered, and you also looked at his size, and is he a tweener? Where does he exactly fit in? So I was a little bit surprised to hear that the Packers were also using him on the edge, a little bit maybe as a sort of like a linebacker role. So what is the role? What is the future for Michonne Gary?
Oh, he's an edge guy first and foremost, but he is big enough where he can do some other things, and that is, look, this isn't like, I mean, this. I mean, this isn't football from 15 years ago where player A has position X.
Yeah.
The more you can do, the more you can line up the same 11 guys, but put them in different spots. I think it's to your advantage.
Yes.
So I don't think tweener's a bad thing anymore. I think it's a good thing. All I know is his coach at Michigan, Pattison, swore by him. So he took one for the team. He did a lot of things for the team that didn't add up in the stats line. His position coach here in Green Bay, Mike Smith, swears by him, says he's going to be great. And of course, what's he going to say, right? I mean, he's not going to say, "Well, my guy sucks."
Yeah.
But I mean, legitimately, he seems to buy in. So, not much impact year one. I would think he'll be a more effective player here in year 2. Okay. I'm not gonna. There's a lot of fans out here who dead him or have buried the guy. I'm not gonna go down that road.
Okay, Kenny Clark, is the Packers going to be able to lock him up long term?
Yep. Yeah, no question. I mean, he's under the 5th-year option this year, which gives him plenty of time to get that done. Yeah, that'll get done. There's not a great sense of urgency here, but I mean, he is. He's a building block guy. I mean, He came in here as a 2-down run stopper. Now he's a every down menace. Rushing the passer, stopping the run. He's a terrific player. Man, gosh, he's 24, 25. God, he's still young and ascending. So yeah, that'll get done. I don't think anybody at all is concerned about that.
I'm going to be interviewing Tyler Lancaster in the next few days, and I wanted to do that because he was the guy that I interviewed before the draft. Because I like interviewing guys that sleeper guys, and not necessarily guys that, okay, 3rd round, 4th round, but guys that may not be drafted. And you just see something in college, sort of like Graziano, his teammate, or his Wildcat buddy there, who I think is going to be another big time sleeper. But what does Lancaster bring to the Packers?
Run defense. He probably played too much this year, which is why they have to go get a D lineman, I think, in this draft.
Okay.
I think Lancaster probably played too much, but he is a no-nonsense, tough guy who you want in there for probably 15, 20 snaps a game. He's probably over 25 or 30 at times last year, but he's a good, solid role player, and you can't have enough of those guys. Especially look, Green Bay's got a top heavy roster salary wise with Rodgers and Adams and Bakhtiari, and Kenny Clark's going to join that bunch. If you're going to have a top heavy roster based on salary structure, you need those quote unquote minimum wage guys to deliver, and he's really good. I mean, he's not, he shouldn't be starting 16 games. He's never going to be a Pro Bowler, but he's one of those role players that you just need to have those guys.
He's like a prototypical lunch pail player.
Yeah, right.
That's what that term was for guys like Lancaster. Yep. What about Keke? Because I watched him in college and I thought that's an interesting player. That's a guy that same type of role. He's not going to get all the stats, but somebody that can make plays and be productive. I know he didn't play much as a rookie, but is he somebody that are they optimistic that he can see his snaps increase and his production increase?
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, like a lot of late round picks, they just need some time. But he put up good pass rush numbers at A&M. He was super athletic, seems pretty intelligent. I think he's going to be a bigger part of this thing. Maybe it ends up being kind of that timeshare. Lancaster plays rundowns. You get Keke in there for some passing downs. Part of it too was Darius Smith playing a lot of D tackle in those passing situations too. With Kyler Fackrell not here anymore, I think Gary takes all those number 3 snaps, and maybe it's more of a traditional lineup, and then you can get Kingsley in there for some of those passing downs. But yeah, there's a lot of upside there.
One more in the defense, and that would be the secondary. Tramon Williams, still a free agent, slot corner. Is that the definite key need in the secondary?
Yeah, you feel pretty good about Kevin King and Jair Alexander. Tramon was really good. The guy's 36 years old. He's the oldest starting DB in the league last year, and the guy's just, Father Time wins every race ever. He's undefeated, but Williams has done pretty well for himself. I think he even got an All-Pro vote last year. Yeah, they drafted Josh Jackson in the 2nd round, and he just fell out by the wayside last year. Really at this point, Tramon is their best bet in the slot, as odd as that sounds. I would think that if they draft anybody DB wise, I would think slot, or at least a guy who can play slot and outside, but anybody who can at least play slot has to be the priority here.
Okay. Offensively, Bulaga out, Wagner in. You mentioned Bakhtiari. Do they re-sign him? So what's the state of the offensive line?
Yeah, I can't imagine let Bakhtiari go. He's still fairly young. So I would think there's supposed to be, allegedly a big jump in the salary cap in 2020 or 2021, I guess it'd be. So there'll be some room to re-sign him. If you're an offensive coordinator and you can go into a game knowing that my left tackles are good enough to beat your edge guys, I don't need to go chipping guys or double teaming guys or slotting protection. That is just such an incredible luxury. So yeah, I would assume he's back, and Wagner's probably a 1-year stopgap. It took the pressure off of GM Brian Gutekunst to go draft a guy right now, an instant starter. So now you don't have to go reach for a guy. Maybe you wait till round 2 or round 3 for a guy who's got some upside. But yeah, I would think O-tackle is probably a pretty large priority here. Whether it's, maybe Josh Jones falls to 30. Okay. Maybe that's their guy. I'm a writer. Is it Niang? I don't even know how to say his name. I just know it's Niang, except I had to spell it.
Yeah.
To me, he's like tailor-made for these guys. If he falls in the 2nd round, that would make a lot of sense. I would think Ezra Cleveland's probably gone in 2. Maybe Jack Driscoll can play right tackle with a year of strength in the strength program. But I would think kind of a guy who you don't need to play right now, but should be ready to go in 2020, and that might be the way to go.
Okay. Jenkins had a really good rookie season, didn't he?
Fantastic. Yeah, he is a building block kind of guy. He's exactly as advertised. I talked to an O-line coach before that draft, and he said, he just raved up and down about Jenkins. No nonsense guy, more athletic than you think. Really, really a bulldog in run game. He's a Pro Bowl kind of guy. Will he ever? It's hard to. I don't realize Pro Bowl is a popularity contest, but he is everything that you could ever want. He is a really, really good football player. I believe of last year's rookies, he was the only guy who didn't allow a sack at guard.
Wow, that's impressive. And does he stay at guard, by the way? Is that his future?
Yeah, I would think so. If they're going to move, maybe if they're in a real bind, they could probably move Billy Turner, their left guard, off the right tackle, their right guard off the right tackle. But yeah, I think you just keep Jenkins there. You've got a Pro Bowl guy. Why on earth would you mess with it?
Are they going to look for some more competition on the other side at guard?
Yeah, maybe. Turner wasn't very good, to be honest with you, and they spent a lot of money on him. Again, like a lot of teams, they like those mid to late round offensive tackle guys as a guy who can play guard. So maybe they take a shot there. A couple years ago they drafted Cole Madison, and he had some personal problems, so he sat out all of his rookie year. Then he had a knee injury last year. Probably a long shot, but maybe he gets in the mix. But Corey Lindsey's going to be a free agent after this season, so maybe you take a guard center combo guy.
Okay.
Maybe you throw him in a right guard right away and see what you got.
Okay. Also, talking about the offense, the skill position players, we already mentioned wide receiver. Is there someone, by the way, at wide receiver, if they do go 30, any names you've been hearing about, any players that the Packers have zeroed in on, anything that you've specifically seen, or a player that you just think would fit the team?
Yeah, they have a lot of guys to play the perimeter. Now, Devontae Adams can play anywhere you want him to, but Alan Lazard's an outside guy. They've signed Funchess. He's an outside guy. Marquez Valdez-Scantling's back. He's outside. EQ St. Brown, he'll be back. He's an outside guy. They need to get a slot guy.
Okay.
Justin Jefferson had 109 catches in the slot last year.
That'll do it.
If he somehow falls to 30, I might be all over that. Otherwise, maybe I'm on an island here, but I love Devin Duvernay from Texas and Lynn Bowden from Kentucky, and those day two guys. Bowden played quarterback at Kentucky last year.
Oh, yeah.
Randall Cobb is a freshman at Kentucky.
There you go. I like it.
Played quarterback. So there's an easy parallel there, but Bowden's a hell of a good player, and I just think Duvernay's fantastic.
No, I agree too. Duvernay, somebody that he's got good size. He's got everything you're looking for, especially if you're looking for somebody that, like you said, that could fit perfectly as a slot receiver. And Aaron Rodgers makes those guys look even better. So I don't think he can go wrong.
The guy's got great hands. I mean, I think he had like 2 or 3 drops last year out of 100 catches, whatever he had. I mean, he's got really good hands. And he's a yak guy. He's a guy he's going to bounce off some guys, and if the tackle's made it 6 yards, he's going to fight to get 7. I really like that.
Sternberger didn't get a chance to play a full season. I'm hearing that they may try to use him a little bit in the slot as well, sort of like a chess piece, which makes a lot of sense. He's that type of guy. He's not really like a traditional tight end. So is that a position that we could see the Packers look at somewhere in the middle rounds?
Yeah, I would think so. And I think mid rounds is the sweet spot in this draft. And you probably know better than I do, but I do think that's where you probably have the best value is those mid rounds. Sternberger's rookie year went down the drain pretty quickly. Had a concussion in the joint practices against Houston. Then he turned an ankle in the finale and ends up going on IR for half the season. This never really got going, but they did draft him for that reason. They drafted him as a guy who can play here, play there. He played some fullback for him last year. Can he be a 40 snaps a game guy as a traditional tight end? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he can be. But as a guy who can move around and do a lot of things, he's got a chance to be pretty good. Mercedes Lewis is back to do the dirty work. But, yeah, I can see getting a true, quote-unquote, a true tight end, a guy who's kind of rock 'em, sock 'em, but can do some, passing game stuff too.
And fullback, I don't talk fullback too much, but the fact is there is an opening, right? And I believe they used the fullback 15% of the snaps on offense last year. So are they going to look for someone to fill that need?
Yeah, I would think so. Again, Sternberger can do that stuff. Danny Vitale was the fullback last year. He got hurt at the end of the year, and was Sternberger playing fullback in the playoffs. But yeah, maybe there's a guy as a late round Hail Mary kind of guy who's got some traits, or you draft. You get someone undrafted. Maybe there's a nickel and dime veteran you can grab afterward. But they like the position, and you look at San Fran, which is obviously the same kind of offensive scheme what they've done with Juszczyk. So I would think if they can get a guy who can fill that kind of role, who's got some upside, you might take a shot at it. But I don't think it's an overwhelming priority either.
Yeah, because those are rare to get those fullbacks nowadays, like Juszczyk, that can give you I mean, he's like what is he? Probably like a 2%er. There's only a couple of guys in the NFL that are as good as Jusic, so they're hard to find.
Yeah, but if you can get a guy who can run and block a little bit, you know what the heck, take a shot.
That's huge. Yeah. As far as, is it too early to think about a developmental quarterback?
No, it's never too early. No, I've seen round one. I've seen Love mocked a couple of times, more than a couple of times at Green Bay. I'm not buying that. And I realized I talked to Goody back in January, and he said, "No, you never pass up a quarterback, and you never know when you need one. If a guy falls, you take him." Well, yeah, it's all well and good, but you got to win with this guy, and to me that means you got a hole at linebacker, you got a hole at D line, you need receivers. I don't know what good it takes you, what good it does to take a quarterback early. So I can see him taking one. I mean, if Hurts falls into the third, maybe James Morgan's from just down the road from Lambeau Field. If he's there, maybe you take a shot at him. I don't think it's this overwhelming priority either. If a guy you like falls, yeah, go for it. But I don't think it's gonna be much more than a day 3 guy maybe.
And speaking of Gutekunst, how's he doing? He's been there. This will be his second draft, right?
This is number 3. His first 2 have not been very good, to be honest with you. Now it's obviously too early to write these guys off. Alexander's been fantastic in the first round on 18, and who knows about Josh Jackson. Last year's draft, I mean, Oren Burks in 2018 either. I mean, he hasn't done anything either. The receivers haven't done anything. Last year, Gary didn't do anything. Savage showed some promise, but Ellen Jenkins has been fantastic. So it's probably another year before you write that story about him. But he's done a really good job in free agency. He's filled in the holes pretty well. He's been a lot more aggressive than Ted Thompson. So kind of a mixed bag. I mean, his draft picks need to be better for sure.
And how's things going with Packer Report, especially at this time? You must be busy, I would think.
Yeah, over to SI.com. It's a lot of draft stuff. We've got features on, gosh, I don't know. I mean, I've written 60 player features and gone deeper a bunch of guys. So, yeah, a lot of guys up. Just go to SI.com.
Bill, I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk between post-draft and training camp, whenever that is. Let's hope it's on time.
I think it will be, but I'm an optimist.
I'm optimistic, too. So, between the two of us, between
the two of us, it means nothing.
Yeah. Thanks, Bill.
All right, take care. Appreciate it.